Yesterday I forgotten to record the lecture. That's why uh, that yesterday's lecture may not be available on YouTube. I require to re-record it, and then we'll go with that. So first we'll see that beyond syllabus part we will cover after the end of say sixth unit. So today we are going to see the software testing, that is on fourth unit. It is total 6 hours as per the syllabus. Here you are going to learn about testing strategies and tactics overview at what we can call as an introduction to strategies or introduction to this what you can say your entire software testing terminology. Then level of testing like unit testing, integration testing, validation testing, system testing, debugging techniques, and something. So in introductory part, we are going to see this entire syllabus first, and then we'll go one by one through the different logics or what say different tactics of this. So let's start with the presentation. So here we are having the software engineering and software testing introduction part, and right now the participants, 15 participants are joined, attendees are there, and I expect just like yesterday, maximum number of participant by 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so let's start with this thing. So I'm just maximizing the screen in presentation mode and putting this here so that it will be easier for you to see the thing. So what are the today's objectives? We are going to learn the software testing. That is our main objective. And in this lecture, we are going to learn about a strategic approach to software testing, generic characteristics, verification, validation. What is software testing strategy? The big picture of it, criteria for compilation or completion of the testing. What are the different strategic issues involved? Test strategies for conventional software, and in brief, what is unit testing, integration testing, top down integration, bottom up integration, regression testing, and what is called as a smoke testing, that is the last one. Okay, well, the smoke testing is not the part of actually your syllabus, but still I added it because without mentioning the smoke testing, the testing won't get completed. Okay, Shiv Prasad Lagde, you raised the hand. So what's your question, Shiv Prasad? Shiv Prasad. Okay, here when I'm going through the things, that hand is not there. So what I'm asking you, instead of raising a hand, it's quite difficult for me to go through that you can say number of participant and to find you and unmute you. You simply type up your question in a question answer block, and then I will try my best to answer your doubts. Okay, we are not yet started the presentation, so I think you must be out of this doubt and other things. So let's say what is our objectives. We are going to learn the strategic approach to software testing, or in other words, this is called as a software testing strategy. Well, then the strategic issues. What are the challenges that comes in a strategy of the testing? And then what test strategies for a conventional software? There are two type of software. What we call as a conventional software, which are used domestically, and then there are specially designed software or tailor-made custom softwares. For custom-made software, you may have to choose a special testing strategy. But when we say generalize, we go for the conventional software. So let's see or about this. Okay, so strategy for software testing it provides the roadmap. So if you see this strategy for thing, what it actually does is provides a roadmap. Okay, now just consider this strategy. I'm not saying software testing here. Strategy provides a roadmap. So strategy means what? Let's say suppose I'm giving you a simple example of achieving something. Let's say consider that you want to achieve something within a month, and let's consider this what you want to achieve is just a simple thing, and that simple thing is let's say suppose you want to master a subject. Consider any subject of your liking. I'm not saying that software engineering and project management should have to be the subject right now. Okay, any subject of your liking, you want to master it. So what strategy will you use within 1 month? Now let's consider that if you decided that is every day you are going to dedicate 3 hours of your life, 3 hours of your life to study that subject. Okay, and then you stick with that plan. Agile software development require courage to stick with the planning or the strategy. So what you get a roadmap every day, 3 hours, 30 day means 3 into 3, 90 hours of continuous training into that particular subject. No matter what subject you are going, 90 hours of training in a particular subject will automatically make you an expert. Yeah, and if you go with a further what you can say experimentation with the subject, that will make you a master. And that is what we call say strategy provides a roadmap. So when it comes to software testing, you should and must have to create the some testing strategy which should have to provide you the roadmap. Or actually once you create the strategy, you get the roadmap, then any testing strategy must incorporate test plan. So what exactly a testing strategy means? So any is say, I'm simply underlining, testing strategy equals to test planning. Even if you want to do something, we require to plan. For example, let's say suppose in early morning you want to do exercise. After exercise you want to say read some books, or you just want to listen to the music. After that you want to do something else, you require to do the planning. That is okay, early morning 4:30 a.m. I will wake up and then I'll clean myself, then we'll go on doing what say exercise till 5:30. So you are actually dedicating 1 hour. 5:30 to 6:30 you are going to listen some soothing music, and you are going to do some meditation. Yes, and likewise. So this is what we call as a planning. Planning means what you can say segmentizing your time so that you can dedicate that particular time segment in your life to a particular subject to achieve certain goal. So that is what we call say here testing is the subject. So you require to give a part of you can say a time to this testing. Then you require to find out a test case. So what test case design or test cases? So what exactly mean by this testing now? Let's say suppose if you go with this presentation, and if I want to say the test cases required or test case design required to check these test cases, so what will be whether when I press the left arrow, right arrow, up arrow, mouse button, whether it works correctly or not. So this is called as a test case design. So you have to documentize all those things which you want to test. Okay, so let's say suppose if you are running a simple notepad application, your test cases will be: will it start on double click of mouse? Okay, will it shut down on say clicking on the cross button? Will the file processing unit work properly or not? So these are the test cases. Then once this test case is you can say identified, you have to come up with a proper way, and that is what we call as a test execution. So once this test case is there, you have to execute the test, yes or no. So what is it? And whatever resultant data that you get, you require to collect that data for the analysis, because that analysis is going to give you the evaluation, the final part of your test. So when you are on your testing strategy, this testing strategy must have to have the test planning, test case design, the resultant data collection of the evaluation and like. Okay, now what is the next point in these test cases? A software testing strategy should be flexible enough to promote a customized testing approach. Why it required to be flexible? because user requirements changes with time. User requirement changes with time, and so flexibility is the one thing which is very necessary in software development process, and testing is a part of software development process. So the strategy for the testing should have to be flexible, because whenever a customer asks you some change, for that customer change, you require to design the new test case and you require to execute that, and that's why it's have to be flexible for this customized testing approach. Whenever you are in the special type of software, you should have to consider this. Then what is the strategy or a testing strategy says that at the same time it must be rigid enough to encourage reasonable planning. Okay, too much flexibility is of no use, too much rigidity is of no use. So you have to be you have to balance this, and you have to find out the golden ratio of rigidity, that is okay, you are going to complete the testing within this particular thing, and likewise something in the timetable is fixed. So it must have to be rigid enough, must have to be flexible enough, and likewise. So these are what you can say the approaches or for the testing strategy. Okay, then what are the generic characteristic for this testing strategy? First, to perform this effective testing, you should conduct effective technical reviews. Let's say suppose you want to test a software. Okay, you want to test what mean by effective technical review. You want to test a software designed by you, and suppose you send this software for testing to a doctor. I am saying a doctor, actual doctor, BAMS, MBBS and something. Okay, doctor is by default not expert in computer technologies. Yeah, so he will fail to give proper review to your software. But if your software is medical software, then he can say, okay, software is easy to operate, or likewise the result are correct or not. So then you can use that person. So that is what we can call as an effective technical reviews. You have to find out the context or the subject of your software, and then you have to find out the people who are having sufficient knowledge and expertise in that particular domain, and you have to send your software for testing to these people. So by doing this, we can eliminate many error. uh, these errors which actually before commencing our testing process. So what you can say, you are trying to correct your program without testing, just by going through these technical reviews, because many experts simply by looking at your software can tell you that is these things are missing, and then you can add those things and can go further. So testing begins at component level. So you have to be very you can say cautious when it comes to component level testing. Components are many times are also called as the units. So it's a unit testing, you have to check it works outward, because the component required to integrate with other components, so every component is having the interface, and that's why it works outward, and that integration of the component actually form the entire system. So unit testing is the first, or a component testing. If the units are smaller and 2 3 units are forming the component, what we call a composite components. Okay, that also there, but still the level is outward. Then different testing techniques are there, which are appropriate for different software engineering. For example, if you are on a web application, you can't have the testing strategy of operating system applicable to this web application. Okay, testing strategy for the softwares are not applicable to web application software, like a system software, your operating system. So every software required to have different testing testing should have to be conducted by the developer of software. Okay, for very large project and an independent testing group. So the problem with developer testing a software is that many times we fail in love with whatever we create or whatever we write. Okay, and then we get that mother syndrome. आपण मराठीमध्ये म्हणतो ना, स्वतःचा तो बाळून दुसऱ्याचं ते कार्ट. That means we get a blind spot and we start not to find out the what you can say weak point of our software. So it is always better to go through an independent test group for testing your software. So that's why whenever you design or develop something, always ask someone to test it for its correctness or for its genuinity and likewise. So testing and debugging, they are different activities. Testing actually identifies the errors in your software. Debugging is the process of removing those errors by adding the new code or by correcting the existing one. So that is why testing is something different and debugging is something different. If you go with say this analogy with doctors only, if you go to the doctor, doctor diagnose you, okay, that diagnosis is called as a testing. But after diagnosing, doctor gives you some medicine, and when you follow the plan of that medicine prescription, okay, and you are taking the medicine as per the doctor's instructions, then you can call this it as a debugging, because it try to remove disease from your system. So this is error. So here in a software also, whatever error are there, identifying those error and the means to identify those errors is called as a testing, while the means to remove those error or to minimize those errors is called as debugging. Now this testing approach require two things: one is verification, another is validation. So what is verification? It is a set of tasks as per the book definition that ensures the software correctly implements a specific function. Means this must have to be done by first the developer himself, then by the users, and likewise. Okay. Now what is validation? So what validation is referred to a different set of tasks that ensure that a software that has been built is traceable to customer requirements. So customer requirements, traceable to customer requirements, there is a very best thing with this. If customer says it's okay, that means it's validated. Okay. If customer says it's okay, that means it's validated. And if a software engineer says it's okay, that means it's verified. Obviously all things depends on the acceptance of customer. If customer won't accept your software, no matter how intelligently you design that software, okay, then that software is not the validated software, or there is no validation for that. So testing also require these two things: verification and validation. And you should have to be very you can say uh, concern about these two things. First, verify your software at your end, then verify your software by a third party, then verify your software, okay, then validate your software from the customer. That is what you say. So these are the different what you can say tasted. I'm not going to discuss all here right now. We are going to see them. The first thing, when you go for verification and validation, you have to do the technical reviews. Second, you require to find out the quality and configuration audits. That means whatever technical reviews and whatever designs are there, you have to identify what is the quality of your design. So quality of any software is measured in terms of space required for that software, okay, time required for that software's execution, and then the privacy and security that software is providing to the user. So that is what called quality and configuration audits. Then you have to find out the performance of that software. Simulation testing, you have to see the feasibility study whether software is feasible or not, documentation is done properly or not, database bases are identified or not. Then algorithm analysis means whatever algorithms, or you can say whatever the procedures that you are deploying or employing to form your software or to design your software, are those algorithms are state of the art or not. Then you have to go for the development testing. So when you are developing this software, at the same time you have to test each and every module, okay. Then usability testing, so whatever module or whatever software you are designing, whether it is usable or not, that you have to check. Then you have to go for the qualification testing. So whether software qualify the legal, illegal, whatever the norms are there, but generally all the legal norms given by the government, those required to be satisfied by the your software, and all the constraints given by the customer, that is called as a qualification testing. Then acceptance testing, once all this is done, you are actually putting forth your software to the customer, and customer will say okay, software is accepted. So that is what we call as an acceptance testing. After acceptance testing, you have to go for the final one, that is called as the installation. So if you see this verification and validation process, it actually include all these things which are colored blue here. Okay, so this is what you are say verification and validation testing process. So if a question is asked what is verification and validation, explain it. This slide is the answer. Okay, now we are going to see the big picture of software testing strategy, or what you can say what is the strategy of testing a software. So whenever this developer develops something, what develops something is what we call as the unit testing. So the code is there. This code is actually required to be tested using unit testing. Then you are having the software design. This software design actually relate with integration of all the units that you develop, so integration testing. Then this required actually to satisfy all the requirements of the user, so this goes to the validation testing or acceptance from the user. Once the things are accepted by user, you actually got your system completed, so you require to engineer this system for actual operation. And once this is done after deployment site or whether wherever you install that, you have to do the system testing. So this is the big picture of testing strategy. Okay, so we are going to see the explanation for everything one by one. What is unit testing? So this begins at a vertex of the spiral and actually concentrate on each unit. So what is unit? A component, a class, or a web application content object, or anything, okay, which is a part of your system but itself is not the entire system. It's called as a unit. So software is implemented this in a source code, and you have to test it for its correctness. Then the integration testing. Any system is actually the integration of different units. For example, if you say room is a class which is actually the integration of different units, and the units are wall, windows, door, okay, electricity, wiring and something. So if you go with all those are the units. So when these units gets integrated, you get the what you can say a room. So integration testing must have to be done for whether they are working properly or not, because it actually defines the software architecture. After this integration testing, you have to go for the validation testing. So what is validation testing? So where requirements established as a part of requirements model, you have to validate these against the software constructed. So you actually have to ask user whether these things are okay or not, and last is the system testing that you have to go through. So when we say this system software testing strategy, considering this process, okay, procedural point of view, testing within a context of software engineering is a series of 4 steps, and those 4 steps can be shown like this. Here you are having these 4 steps shown here. So you first have the units as very small units. These are the very small units. Many times we can call these are the operations of the unit. So you create the one unit, and this entire thing base actually forms the what you can say the unit test. Once this unit testing is done, you require to find out the design. So what design actually find? The subsystems. For example, if you want file menu, these are the file menus, all 3 components. Okay, so let's say these are related with the file operation, this with the print operation. So you got the file menu, and likewise you go to the design testing. Here at design testing, you are actually dealing with the integration of the entire system, and so you can get the higher test. That is what you can say of your entire system. So This is what your software's testing strategies thing. So initially this test focuses on each component individually, then all components or these units get integrated together to form the system or a composite component. So you require to do the verification for that. Verification means you have to find out whether the integration works properly or not. Then high order test is conducted. This called as a validation criteria is there for high order test, and that must have to be evaluated. Because if you customer says, because customer is considered as a no eyes of software engineering, he may say something okay. Then validation testing is the final, where you are actually how to identify informational, functional and behavioral performance of the requirements. So whether all the informational, functional and behavioral performance are satisfied by your software or not, that you have to identify here. Okay, so this is what you can software testings big plans. So if you go with this high order testing, here you are actually considering about hardware, people, databases, computers or system on which you are actually going to deploy your software. System testing verifies the overall performance of your entire system. Okay. So these are the, so this here is the criteria for completion of testing. So when are we done testing? How do we know that we have tested enough? This is the first question that you have to ask. And I am speaking very bluntly. There is actually an answer. You will never come to know when say you are done testing, or whether whatever you are done is enough or not, because there is no definite answer to this question. You have to test your software continuously, because every time you require to go for the new advanced version of your software, and so you require to retest the software each and every time. So first answer is you are never done testing. Second answer is you are done testing when you run out of time. Both answers are incorrect. Okay, so there is no answer, or there is actually no criteria for the completion of testing. But you can say that if you are having the 100 test, and if you find 51 tests correct, you can say your testing is done, and you can release. Hello sir, hello, just a minute. लावू नका सर ते. So we have to check this. You are never done this testing, and likewise, and you have to find out this testing. Okay, uh, some professor actually comes in between. So diagnosis is similar as validation. No, diagnosis means verification. Okay, it's a diagnosis is verification. And when you actually accept that diagnosis of the doctor, and start making taking medicines, what that we can call as a validation. In a software engineering, this is a question by Ronak Goje, that is diagnosis similar to verification or validation. And if you are having something like this, you can say this as a software testing. And so both responses that here we are having are misleading. You require to identify different mm, mm, what you can say thing here for the when we go for the strategy of software development. So there are certain issues that you require to address. And first issue, that is Tom Gibb actually argues that software testing strategy succeeds if software testers specify the product requirements in quantifiable manner. Okay, state testing objectives explicitly, understand the use of the software and develop a profile for each user category, and develop a testing plan that emphasizes rapid cycle testing. Rapid cycle testing means whenever required, you require to test the software. that is what you can say, and you are testing all software at once. So the first thing that is, you are required to build a robust software that is designed to test itself, and this is a very difficult task actually to uh, complete. Then you have to use effective technical reviews as a filter prior to testing. You have to conduct the technical reviews to assess the test strategies and test cases themselves, develop a continuous improvement approach for the testing process, and likewise. So what are these test strategies for conventional software? Now you can wait until system is fully constructed and then start the test. This is not the good approach, okay? Because this goes with the waterfall model of the software engineering. And if you wait till the completion of the system and you won't test in between, you may get the entirely what you can say erroneous software, malfunctioning software, or the software which is just not acceptable by the customer. So whenever you go, you should have to consider unit testing. So you say whether it is okay, testing should have to be done periodically, but whether on daily basis, no. What the software engineers generally do, they test whenever systems any component is constructed, so that component get tested uh, continuously. Whenever a system designs any components, that is it. So this approach, although less appealing to many, it's actually effective, because when you test a part or component of the software for unit test, and then we go on integrating that with the system and we check for its integration, our testing is done. So this now seems to be time taking process, but it actually gives you the quality software, and that's why we require to assume this in a way. Then unit testing is there. So we are going to see the different test strategies for this conventional software. First is the unit testing, which is focuses verification effort on the smallest unit of the software design. Now we already know that verification means testing of the unit by technical expert or the developer himself, so smallest unit. So a person required to be qualified enough to verify that particular thing. That's why I said that is when doctor diagnose your disease, he is actually doing the verification. Okay, whether the disease is there or not. So in the same way, software engineers check that unit for its operations, and that is called as a verification. Then using the component level design description is another way. Okay, so then you have to go with the relative complexity of the test and errors in this unit testing. You have to find out the unit test which focuses on internal processing logic. So what is internal processing logic? Whenever you write some code, okay, you actually have some algorithm or a logic in your mind, and according to that you write that particular code, and according to that you use the data. So data, and when you are using the data, you require databases and data structures. So unit test focuses on that also. Okay, so when you are doing this unit testing, you require to do these things. Then what it is a, so this is conducted unit testing is actually conducted parallelly, because whenever you design or develop a part of your software, you can go for the unit testing uh, uh, software thing. And so this this is what we are seeing. So unit testing considerations are there: the interface, local data structure, boundary condition, independent paths, error handling paths. So these are the unit test considerations. Okay, so I'm not reading this explanation just on the right hand side, but these are the my unit test consideration. So boundary conditions, these are the conditions that ensure that module operates properly at boundaries. For example, let's say suppose you created a software, and here you want this software to provide access to 50 people. Okay, so only 50 people, 51st person must not have to be get entered into the system, and that is what we call as a boundary condition. And finally, all error handling paths required to be tested, means all the exceptions and errors that happens in your program should have to be tested by this error handling and other things. Okay, so you have to go for the selective testing and execution, and likewise. and this is what you are having. So when you anticipate this error condition, establishes error handling paths, and likewise we actually completes our unit testing process in a way. Now what are the unit test procedures? So unit testing is an adjunct to the coding steps. So as soon as you start coding and you code an entire function, let's say suppose you completed a for loop, then that for loop is a unit of your program. So you first have to check that for loop for its correctness. If it is correct, then and then only you can say, okay, now it is integrated with my program and is going to give me the every time the correct output. So unit test is adjunct to coding step. So each test case should be coupled with a set of expected results. So what are your expected results must have to be there, and then you have to find out this. These components are not standalone components. So whenever you want to test these components, you require to have a stub or a dummy program in which you are calling this. For example, so suppose you have written a function for entering data into a particular database, okay, and it is yet not say integrated with the system, but you want to check this. So you create a dummy main program where you call this program or a dummy environment, and in that environment you uh, actually execute that particular program. This dummy environment is generally called as a stub. Okay, so these stubs are generally used to check each and every component. And once these components are verified, okay, by the main program, the accept test case data, such data, okay, then we can say it is okay, verified. You can integrate it now for the further essay. So unit test procedures actually involves stubs are the dummy programs for execution of the components or for checking of the components. So if you go with this, you are having interface, local data structures, boundary conditions, independent paths, and error handling paths, exception and error handling thing. All those are actually checked here in the unit test procedures. Okay, so this is what you can say the simple answer for this. What are the unit test procedures? See. Now, after unit test completion, starts the integration testing. Once the integration testing starts, you require to check all the units and you have to fit those units together. For example, let's say suppose here you are having one unit of this type, okay, and second unit is exact match to this. So now you know that is unit 1, this is unit 1, and this is unit 2. They fit well with each other. But let's say suppose here you are having one unit like this, okay, and second unit like this. So these units are not compatible with each other, they can't fit well. Yes, they can't fit well. You require to have the unit which should have to be of this type. Yes, to get fit. So whenever you are having a plug pin socket, if you see that, you are always having a receptor and giver. So that is what we call as a interfacing. So whenever you are having this interfacing or integration, you should have to check care. You should have to you can say consider about this thing. Okay, okay, you got the answer. Mhm. So this is what uh, we are seeing this what you can say integration. So when we say integration testing, then integration should have to be done. So data can be lost across an interface. What happens in integration testing? Because one, if the two interfaces are not compatible with each other, data will be lost. Will be used, say, wasting of that data. Then you are having this one component can have an inadvertent adverse effect on the another component may be resource hungry and likewise, and you have to identify that also. Then sub functions combined may not produce the desired major function, so that you have to check. Individual acceptable imprecision may magnify. with acceptable levels. Means if some function is having error on integration, those errors get multiplied and can cause problem to your program. So in integration testing you have to check these 4 points for this. And the final point, the data structures. If you are not using the sufficient data structure or efficient data structure for the integration, it can cause the problem. So integration testing is systematic technique for constructing the software architecture while same time conducting the test to uncover errors associated with interfacing. So specifically speaking, integration testing is something which actually help you to create proper interfaces for every components, so that components can communicate and collaborate with each other in a proper way. Okay, so after integration testing, there is an one approach for this. It's called as a big bang integration approach. That is, all components are combined in advance. The entire program is tested as a whole and chaos usually results. What this means, if the program is too complex, the big bang integration approach is very difficult to handle. For example, let's say suppose I said that tomorrow you are going to have the test on a CPM. Okay, and some studious people from you will simply jump into the sea of books. Okay, so Roger Pressman, Ian Somerville, this author, that author, hundreds of books there. Each book is having 1,000 pages, and so they get a mountain of books before them. And after seeing that mountain, they says, "Oh God, this much I have to study," and they simply go into sweet sleep. So they won't study, and that is what we call as a big bang integration approach. So big bang integration approach, generally if the system is too complex, never give you the proper result. Avoid it. Okay, we call this as the 11th hour approach. Actually means we actually try to delay our work, and so that work get what you can say accumulated, and at the end we require to do too much you can say work just to complete the small things. And that is what we call as a big bang integration approach, which is not the correct approach in software engineering scenario. Then there is an incremental approach of the integration testing, which is always good, because this is an antithesis to big bang. So you are actually trying to do the things in a simpler way. Simpler way means unit by unit. So this approach constructed testing small increments, and it's always give you the results. So there are different approach for this integration. One is called as bottom up integration, top down integration. Okay, so we see this. So first, the top down integration. Here's an incremental approach. Modules are integrated by moving downward through the control hierarchy. So you are having here the file as the main menu. Then you go downward, you know that is a file open module is there. You add that, new file module is there, you are adding that, and this is called as a top down uh, approach. So there is a two approach here again in top down, depth first and breadth first approach. Then this depending on integration approach selected, the test actually get conducted on every you can say thing. So then there is one testing which called as regression. We are going to see that also. Regression means whenever you do something, we first consider that it is okay, but then we, after going a while, we come to know that okay, the path is not correct. So we turn back and we once again go with the new thing. So that is what we call the regression testing. So we are say then is top-down approach is there. Top-down integration strategy verifies major control or decision points early in the test process. So actually, top-down strategy sounds uncomplicated, but when it comes to practically, you are actually how to break the problem, your entire problem into small pieces. But you first have to find out the problem as a whole, and then you go on finding the problem in a particular thing, and so you get the logistical problem. So lower level requires upper layer operations, and so it can cause the problem. So if you want to test using the top down approach, the choices are: you have to delay some tests until stubs are replaced with actual models. or you have to develop stubs that perform limited function and simulate the actual model, or you have to integrate the software from the bottom of the hierarchy and upward. So this is one thing. Then the bottom up integration is that you are actually create the small components at the lowest level, the components at the lowest level in the program structure, and they actually get combined together to form the component get combined together to form the composite one. Composite will form the actual components and the system. So this here a stub or a driver code program is used for coordinate these test cases, and clutter is tested. Drivers get removed once the clusters are formed, and likewise. So bottom up integration is that here you are in the cluster 1. For example, if you go with this cluster 1 as a file new file op, this as a file new or new file, this as a open file, this as a save, and this as a save as module, you get here the first module. Okay, that is your file module. And then this D2 is the combination, because you are in the file, your every file have its layout, every file have its property, every file required to share. So in sharing you are either have email or you are having the print option. Okay, so your file menu is ready, your file menu is ready. Now here you are in the edit, you may have in edit menu two operations, just only control C control V, cut and paste. Okay, select is not there, select you have to do on automatic. Then your model is ready, you created the edit model, and these two form your simple notepad. So this is called as bottom up integration. You are actually creating small units, and those units get integrated with each other to form the entire system. Okay, so this is what we are having. So as integration moves upward, you require to go with this thing. Then the regression testing is there. Regression testing is something that is whenever you actually develop or design something, each time a new module is added as a part of integration testing. Okay, so you require to recheck the things so flawlessly, and so you have to go back and once again re-execute everything. So whenever you are re-executing already tested model with some modification, you can call that as a regression testing. Okay, you can call that as regression testing, and it is the integral part of the testing. This may be conducted, regression may be conducted manually, or this may be conducted using some playback tools or the methods. And after this regression testing, one testing that is most popular in software engineers is your smoke testing. So about the regression test suite is a subset test for executed, represents the sample test. Additional tests are required to be done, test that focuses on software components that have been changed. So whenever some change occur in a particular module, you require to retest it, and that retesting is called as a regression testing. Okay, so that's this smoke testing is the final part of this testing. So smoke testing is an integration testing approach that is commonly used when product software is developed. Okay, it is designed as a pacing mechanism for time critical projects, allowing the software team to assess the project on a frequent basis. So what exactly mean by smoke? If you see the smoke generally comes in violets. For example, here you are having this smoky roses, pink roses smoke in a smoke styles. Okay, studded with the diamonds. So these smokes actually cover everything, but not in a uh, complete manner. So smoke test simply means you can say overlook of the system, and you go on the smoke testing with the activities involved in smoke testing are this code are integrated or not, builds are equal or not. So it's a overall checking of the software. So smoke testing activities, a series of tests is designed to expose errors that will keep build from properly performing its function. So build is integrated with other builds. So if you see the debugging process in your software, you generally go with the smoke testing type of strategy. So benefits of the smoke testing is that it is integration risk is minimized because smoke testing is generally done on the module itself. Okay, and then quality of end product is improved, and then error diagnosis and corrections are simplified. Okay, and progress is easier to assess. For detailed information on smoke testing, you should have to go through the book of Roger Pressman and Ian Somerville for this complete, you can say, testing strategies and strategy. So this is the brief coverage of your unit number 4, point number 1, and that is introduction to testing strategies and what are the different test and strategies. So if you are in any question, you can answer, you can ask them, and if okay, then as usual, at the end of session, I always expect, if you don't ask the question, then if you like the session, thumbs up from you. Okay, thank you. Ronak is the one first to give me the thumbs up. Okay, what about the other people? They don't like the lecture. Okay, yes. Samir Mishra was given the applause. Thank you, Samir. Uh, so other people are also giving thumbs up, and likewise. Yeah, this actually helped me to study more, to give you more. Okay, because uh, just like you, we teachers also require some motivation, and is the students clap at the end, or what you can say, students positive feedback at the end, which give that teacher or say mentor, just not me, any teacher, uh, uh, to study in depth and give more knowledge to the students. Okay, so don't forget to applause if you really like someone's lecture or something. Thank you very much. I'm ending the session. I'm really thankful that you stayed with me for this long. Thank you.